Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm making an updated version on the video how to import the CSGO maps into Blender. With this new method you'll be able to import the maps with less errors most likely, just because there's less things for you to do and to set up, so it's a lot easier and simpler. Also, it will significantly reduce the importing times into Blender, of course leading to faster imports. If you happen to have issues when importing the CSGO maps into Blender, it could be not responding, or it could just be maps taking a very long time. When I was running my tests, maybe on average, I could import a map between 5 and 10 minutes. However, with this new add-on, you should be able to import maps between 20 seconds and maybe up to a minute or so. So yeah, you'll get a significant performance increase. Just to be clear, if you want to import AGR and you're doing the whole CSGO movie thing, you will still need to watch this previous video, as the same add-on that allows you to import the maps into Blender also allows you to import the AGR. So if you do want to import the AGR, I highly recommend checking out that video, and it will also link you to the getting the models and textures for CSGO. If you purely just want the maps, or if you're interested in having this add-on just to import the maps quicker, then this video is definitely still for you. Before we get started, I have a video coming up next which I think will be exciting for a lot of you guys. It's to do with textures, so if you don't want to miss out on that, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on when I upload. Let's get into the video. Just a quick note, whilst the add-on should in theory give you less errors because there's less things for the user to mess up, this add-on I believe is still in beta last time I checked, so you could run into a few bugs. However, when I was testing the add-on out, I didn't have any issues with it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install Blender. Just head over to your search engine and just type in Blender download and just hit the download button and just install it through the launcher, and that will be all you need to do. The second thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have Steam installed, and on your Steam account make sure you have CSGO installed too. Next we are going to install BSPSource. I will leave a link to the webpage where you can download it in the description. So this is the page you will land on. We're going to click on BSP 1.4.1. and we're going to download the zip. Once you have done that, we can close our search engine, and I'm going to go into my downloads. As you can see, it is a compressed file at the moment. If you're not able to right click and extract all, what you can do is you can download a tool called 7-zip which will let you extract for free. I will leave a link to that in the description as well, just in case. All you have to simply do is just download and install it, and you can right click on the file and the options will come up. So we're going to extract all, and I'm just going to extract it in my downloads for now. Once I have done that, I am going to open up this one here, BSPSource, BSPSource. I'm going to double click to open it. As you can see, it says Windows cannot find Java W. Make sure you typed the name correctly and then try again. In order to solve this, we need to install Java. I will also leave a link to Java in the description below, but we are going to run and install it. So we're going to download Java here. So I believe I can download Java. Because I'm using Microsoft Edge, it might mess it up, but it seems like that's only for the browser, so I'm just going to give it a try. We're going to go to our downloads, open and run it. I'm just going to click install. It says it has successfully installed, so hopefully that now means if we go back to BSPSource and we run it, it works. Fantastic. I'm going to close down my browser. And now we shall start working with BSPSource. So what does BSPSource do for us? So what it does is it's going to allow us to extract the CSGO maps from the CSGO game files, and it's also going to allow us to convert those maps from their original format, which is BSP, and we're going to convert them into a BMF file, which we can then import into Blender with the Plumber add-on. So in order to extract our files, we're going to come up here and we're going to go to Add. We now need to find our CSGO directory and find the maps essentially. You can do this with Steam. I did show you how to do that in the older video, so you can check that out if you want to. Or you could just Google it. But I already know where mine is going to be, so I'm just going to go to that quickly. So you're going to want to go and find your Steam folder. So mine is here, Steam. Then it will be Steam Apps, Common, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Then we'll go to CSGO. Oh. And then we've got a folder called Maps. As you can see, everything in this folder contains the maps that are currently in the game files, and they're .bsp. As you can see, we've got Dust2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract all of them. To do this, I'm going to left click on the first one, hold down Shift, and then left click on the last one whilst holding Shift, and this will select all of them, and I'm going to click Open. As you can see, I now have all the maps selected in this box, and now we can decompile them. So what I'm going to do, and what you'll need to do as well, is you're going to need to create a folder to put our decompiled maps into. I'm just going to do this on my desktop, so you won't need to do what I'm about to do now. I'm just going to get my desktop items back. I'm going to make a new folder and just call it CSGO extracted maps. So before we decompile, we're going to go to Other. We're going to tick extracted embedded files, and we also want smart extracting ticked. Also, when we decompile this one here is actually going to be converted. So all the maps will be BMF afterwards. So we'll click decompile, go to the extracted folder, we'll click open, and then we'll just sit back and wait. Okay, so it's finished. It looks like it took about 4 minutes, maybe 5-6 minutes, something like that. Can't really tell. Anyway, but yeah, it really didn't take long, and that was for every single map that was in the game files. So once we have done that, we can close out BSPSource. And we're going to double check that all of our extracted maps are here. Now, just a quick note. If you forgot to do extract embedded files, you will not have these folders. And you only have these files here. What these folders contain can be missing props and materials. And when you import them into Blender, when you import the maps into Blender and you don't have this, you'll come up with errors with missing props and certain materials as well. So do make sure you have them embedded. And just to show you, this is a very common one, auto combine. These are used on multiple maps. And the same with the materials. Well, for this one, it's just cube map default. Doesn't matter, but it's primarily the models, at least for dust. We can then close this folder down. Next, we are going to need to install the Blender add-on Plumber, and this is what we're going to use to import the maps into Blender. I will leave a link to this add-on in the description below. So this is the page that you will load up into. It's slightly confusing because it's currently under IO import VMF. As you can see, we've got Plumber 1.0 beta 3. And if you're interested, he goes over everything that he's changing. Of course, shout out to Leslie and the team for making this all free for us. What we're going to want to do is we're going to download the latest version. Again, this is pre-release, so there's still going to be bugs and stuff, but it's relatively stable from what I tested out. We're going to scroll down, and obviously depending on your operating software, you'll choose the associated one. I'm running Windows, so I'm going to click on the Windows one. And this is going to stay in our downloads for the moment. Once you have done that, we can close down our search engine. Next, we need a place to put our Blender add-ons into. So what I do is make a Blender add-on folder. So this is my Blender folder. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call it Blender add-ons. And this is where all your Blender add-ons will go into. Once you have done that, we need to go to our downloads. And we are going to drag and drop Plumber without extracting it into Blender add-ons folder, and it should be sitting in there like this. Next, we can close down our downloads, and now we can open up Blender. Okay, so I have just launched Blender. I don't have my keystrokes on display, however I'll do my best to explain to the best of my ability. I'm going to left click off to get rid of this screen. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to install and activate our Plumber add-on in order to import the maps into Blender. To do this, we're going to go up to the top left, click on Edit, then Preferences. This will be unticked, but we'll go to the add-ons in the left-hand side, and you will get this screen here. We'll then click Install, and this is where we're going to navigate to our Blender add-ons folder. We're going to click on Plumber, and then just click on Install. And we're going to wait for it until it appears. When it does appear, it means that it has been installed. Usually it would have popped up by now, which it hasn't. So if it hasn't, it might just be in your list. So it will come up like this or so, or you could just type in Plumber and it will hopefully come up. So then I'm going to click on this box and this is going to activate it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to click on this little drop down box, and as you can see, Plumber automatically detects, I believe, every game that runs under the Source engine. So it's detected CSGO automatically, which is great, as well as a selected path. If you have multiple games installed on Steam, you might have some other games here that also run on the Source engine. I recommend just clicking on CSGO, and depending on where the game is on your list, click on the arrow keys to move it to the top. This just means that it's going to automatically default to using CSGO, and you won't have to change the game every time you go to import something. Also, if you happen to be from any of my old videos, you know that you don't have to do this manually anymore, and you also don't need to make a cache folder anymore, which is great. Once we have done that, we can close this down. If you do have any issues with the Plumber add-on coming up, feel free to just close Blender down, open it back up, go back into your edit preferences, back into add-ons, and type in Plumber again, as it might not be ticked, and re-tick it again. And hopefully it will now appear when we go to File, Import, and then Plumber. Before we do that, I'm going to click A on my keyboard to select everything in my scene, and I'm going to click Delete to remove it. I'm also just going to left click on this collection in the top right and click Delete to remove that too. We're then going to go to File, Import, Plumber, and we want Valve Map Format. This is where we're going to select our extracted maps. So we're going to go to Desktop, just go Extracted Maps and Converted, and I'm going to select DOS2 because that's the map I want to import. As you can see, make sure your game definition is on Counter-Strike Global Offensive. You also have embedded files. It will automatically detect embedded files as we're using it, as the embedded files are in the folder, in the same folder as the map files are. If you really want to, you can put the embedded file directory into here. It will open up one of these folders, copy the directory and paste it into here. Next, we're going to open up brushes, and we're going to take notice of merge solids. It's currently set on to merge, and what merge does is it's going to take all of our objects and it's going to do its best to make them into one object. The benefit of this is that the importing will be faster. That's just based on my test of doing it. It's also going to be a lot more responsive when like zooming in and out of the map and rotating around the map and all that sort of stuff. However, if you're going to stay in a Blender, you would absolutely want to move it to separate. The reason why we want it on separate is because when it comes down to texture, we're going to want to texture based on each object. Otherwise, texturing is going to be extremely difficult, probably if not impossible, if it's all merged into one object. So we're going to absolutely change it to separate. It is going to be a little bit slower to import and the responsiveness is going to be worse, but you don't want a headache of the texturing afterwards. Everything else we can leave. If you want to change the resolution of the skybox, so the quality of how it looks, you can increase the pixel amount to what you want. Of course, if you increase it, it will be a little bit slower when importing. If not, you can just leave it on 0 and it will just give it its automatic resolution. Once that is all done, if you selected your map, the final thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top left, click on Window, and we're going to toggle system console. The reason why we do this is because as we're importing, Blender may say it's not responding, which in most cases in other software as well usually means it's frozen and it's not doing anything. However, with Blender, I find that it will say it's not responding. When I open up the console, it will still be doing stuff, and that's exactly all we need to know. As long as it's still doing stuff, it doesn't matter if it's not responding or not, even if you can't click on things when it says it's not responding, and that's why I open it before then. If it is not responding and it's not making any progress in the console, then it's clear to say that it has crashed. Next, we're going to click on import. Okay, and we're done. As you can see, it only took 28 seconds, which is incredible, really. And yeah, it's just going to lead to way faster imports. On top of that, no errors. We haven't got a single error here. So everything should be done perfectly. We're going to click on viewport shading just to see if we've got anything missing. This is just going to load up our textures. Okay, so it looks like all the textures have loaded in. What we can do, just to show you guys the difference, is say we click on this tire. It's its own separate object, that's why it's highlighted in orange. And this will be for practically everything, or it will be for everything, as you can see. And this is the responsiveness. Pretty good. Oh, did lag just there though. So there are a few things you can get rid of if you want to. You can remove these. You're just going to click on them and click delete. I've heard multiple things about these. Some say that this is from a game mode that was like never released or something, and it's all just banners to indicate something to do with the game mode. I'm not entirely sure, but they can be deleted, and that's completely fine. Next, we're going to apply the skybox to finish the map off. So below us, we have our skybox down here. And underneath, we have bits of land. And also, this is the sky. So what I recommend you do is, I'm just going to zoom in. Okay. So if you notice, we have this little, I don't know what you really call this, a crosshair sort of thing. We can click on it and it's called Sky Camera 1248 blah blah blah. Make sure you click on this first. Otherwise, when we go to Object and transform VMF 3D Sky, it might be basically you won't be able to select it. It'll be like grayed out. So let me just click over here. I go to Object, as you can see, can't be selected. So we need to make sure we have this selected first. Once you have done that, I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to change this to the wireframe mode. And this is now what we've got. I'm going to line up best as possible without getting these light sources involved. We're going to hold down a shift and left click to drag. And this will select everything to do with the skybox. After that, we can now go to Object, Transform Sky. As you see, it has now transformed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into shaded mode. And we're going to zoom in. And as you can see, we have our dust 2 map with the surroundings, as well as the skybox, which is now here. Once you have done that, don't forget to file, save or save as, and just save it as dust or whatever. And then you'll never have to do that ever again. Just keep it as a backup for your AGR montages or whatever. In addition to that, if you want to, you can delete these buildings over here. Yeah, depending on if you want them or not, you can delete them before doing the sky. I would recommend doing that. If not, you can still delete them here. It's not a problem. Just go back into wireframe mode. You can select them all and just delete them. Okay, so I hope you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. We also have a Discord, so if you need any extra support, the links will be in the description. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. And thank you. Bye.